Can you hear me?
Clear as a bell, David Lee Scales.
Welcome back to the show.
As always, the only place I want to be on a Thursday.
Except you're not here.
I'm not, I mean, being on Zoom is not the only place I want to be, unfortunately. I wish you were here on mainland Mexico.
So you're not in Cabo this time?
No, mainlanding it.
Was this trip impromptu? Because last week you didn't seem to know about it.
It wasn't. It was one of my wife's friends' 50th birthday parties. So
nice.
those kinds of birthday party, wife's friends things get lost in my mind, I suppose. I just always forget about them.
I told Lauren she needs to aspire to Cersei status so that I could live the life of Chaz Smith.
I mean, it's pretty okay. I'm not gonna lie.
It's not bad. Are you surfing?
It's not a bad life. I didn't surf today. There was no waves, but apparently they're coming in.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Did you bring an album?
I did. Of course I did. Brought an album. Brought two albums even.
Nice.
Yeah. Excited.
So I'm trying to get couple surf therapy.
Yes, I'm trying to get the wife on the album program. Actually borrowed, and you know what I mean by borrowed, David Lee Scales.
I do.
I borrowed an ASIM for the wife. So trying to get her on the album ASIM program.
This is why I've never loaned you anything.
This one's actually going to come back. I'm going to be respectful and responsible. I feel like when I used to borrow boards, it was understood that I wasn't returning it, that we were both speaking shorthand to borrow, for me, meaning you take it. But then I realized that's a pretty rude assumption that I'm making there.
I agree. I think you were the only one assuming that.
I was the only one.
So I do think, though, that the unspoken policy is that the board that they loan you, it's part of a loaner pile of boards. Once you give it back, they'll end up loaning it out to somebody else. So it's not like they're necessarily going to resell it. So really who you're hurting is other people who want a loaner.
Yeah, but that's okay. I'm happy to hurt all of those people. Those
are our listeners. Those are the people.
But the people should buy. The people buy boards. People don't borrow boards. Buy a board. I'm trying to do a good service for the people here by taking all the loaners off the market, so the listener can have the joy of purchasing and owning. Nothing beats the joy of ownership, David Lee Scales.
That's a good point. And you're also doing a service to the surfboard manufacturer, now that I think about it. Here, I thought you were harming them by keeping the loaner forever. Really what you're doing is stimulating sales.
Exactly. Which Smart. I feel is part of what I do. It's part of my value added. Yeah.
So I was going to join you in a margarita, considering the location, but all of our limes, were kind of rotting. So I mixed myself an old fashioned, which I've been on a kick with lately. And you want to know what the perfect cocktail mixer is?
For an old fashioned?
Yes, for any cocktail, actually.
Oh, are you holding up a Yeti there?
Florida Surf Film Festival. The Yeti that they give us, Yeti sponsors their event, or it has in the past, Florida Surf Film Festival. So they have one with their logo emblazoned on it. It is the perfect cocktail mixer because the lid seals. I pour two. I mix two at once, and you just leave the second one in here, and it's got the little pour spout. Boom.
You know what the best part about that is too, is when you're on your second. I mean, you should have 4 stacked up there, 4 Yetis, because then when you're on your third or fourth, and your arms waving around a little too sporadically, and you knock it right over, no problem. No problem.
No spillage. Not a drop spilled, and it keeps
no broken glass.
Icy cold too.
Perfection.
Well, hey, cheers.
Cheers.
Good to see you.
Cocktail hour.
It's probably nearly as hot sweltering here as it is there. What's the temperature?
Did heat finally hit Southern California?
Yeah. I mean, it's not 100, but I'd say it's mid 90s probably.
When did this happen? I was so happy, so overjoyed to leave the gloom behind. I don't think I'd seen the sun in 8 weeks.
Well, it's July 1st, so we're done with June gloom.
Man, May gray to June gloom. Every time it comes around, and for those listeners who do not live in coastal Southern California, it sounds really rude, especially for our listeners in Seattle and Portland who just had record-breaking heat. Did you read that Portland, Oregon is one of 3 major US cities ever to reach 116 degrees?
No, I would never guess that.
Los Angeles has never done it. Miami's never done it. The only 3 cities, major-ish cities in the US to go above 116 or above are Portland, Oregon, Phoenix, Arizona, and Las Vegas, Nevada. That's it.
Vegas was going to be my guess. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. Houston's never been to 116. Like, think of all the hot cities. Albuquerque, I don't even know that Albuquerque, New Mexico gets very hot, but anywhere. Portland, Oregon, top 3.
It's only getting hotter too. So
global warming.
Exactly. So a couple of things to catch up on. It is July 1st, which means we are giving away a Channel Islands Too Happy today.
Today is the day?
Today is the day.
Have you spun the wheel?
I spun the wheel. I can actually do it for the camera right now because I saved the video. And I also contacted the winner because I want to make sure that they're actually going to take the prize. Like, I don't know why they won it. Nobody's ever not taken it. But I contacted the winner to make sure he'd accept the prize. He already got back to me and accepted. And so Gordon Kilby is our winner. He's an Australian listener. He's actually been a supporter for a long time now. And by everybody's account on Instagram, he's a frother.
Gordon Kirby is going to be too happy is what's going to happen.
Gordon Kilby.
Frother, going to be too happy. How did he respond when you emailed him or texted him or whatever, contacted him?
He was frothing, and I will actually read you his email because it's actually pretty solid. And the funny thing was I had literally sent a package out for him today of Project Abelli stickers. So he had emailed me 2 or 3 days ago asking for Project Abelli stickers. So his name was kind of on the front of my mind, and it popped up on that wheel of names thing. And I was like, oh my God, I actually know who that is because we were just communicating. Anyways, he said, far out. I don't know what to say. He said something about he prefers our ad because there's an ad-free version of the podcast for the subscribers. They can listen to the show without any advertisements. He said he prefers the one with ads because he's amazed and he always applauds at our skill for how we can speak off the cuff about Athletic Greens week in and week out. So he actually enjoys listening to him. He said it's Friday here in Oz and he's got the week off. So a wonderful way to commence proceedings. I shall let the shock of today's high set in while I'm drinking my coffee. Thank you so much. Looking forward to today's drop of the grit. And I'm going to load new stickers up with conflicting brands on my surfboard based on Shaz's recommendation. Wowee. Thanks again.
I love it. Gordon, you enjoy that. What is the dims on the board Gordon's getting? Do you know?
So in the past, what I've done is I get one for myself, ride it for a month, talk about it, and then give away that used board. This one, I'm actually letting him pick stock dims off Channel Islands website that suit him best so that they could ship it directly from their Channel Islands Australia factory and
okay.
to ship it overseas.
Smart. Saving, not only are you saving money, you're saving the earth. Who needs a board shipped from America? Yeah.
And he gets a board that suits him really well. So,
I mean, so this is like one of the best board winner wins ever.
It's right up there. I think they get better each time.
I mean, the fact that you were speaking of him or his name was top of mind, is this an incident where, or one of the incidents where, you know, you're talking about something or even thinking about something, you go check your phone and the ad being served to you is this one of those?
The algorithm is so sophisticated now that it doesn't even exist on a given app or through Google's marketing. It exists in our head and through everything that we do. It's actually in the ether now.
So the fact that Gordon was smart enough to email you about some non-related subject basically guaranteed himself a win right there. He must have been sitting home at Australia just laughing, just knowing full well the wheel would stop on him.
Remember when I got vaccinated? Bill Gates planted the bots in my body that are now running the algorithm, and they read the email and then fixed this whole game.
It's so true. It is so true. Does Gordon live in? Does he live in? Not Melinda though. Did we talk about Melinda? We did talk
about me trying to honeypot Melinda so that I could get some of those billions.
Yeah. I forgot if you were trying to honeypot Bezos or Gates, but yeah.
I'll take either.
Either way. Real quick, is Gordon locked down right now? Do you know where he's at? Sydney.
He's in
New
South Wales.
Okay, so I think he might be locked down for the first time since coronavirus. Sydney lockdown. Isn't that weird?
Is it the Delta variant that they're freaked out about?
It is the Delta that finally undid Sydney's. Yeah, I mean, I think Australia has obviously been shut down or closed to foreign travel. I don't think they let their people leave. But according to Derek Riley and then corroborating news reports, Sydney has not shut down until a couple of days ago.
That's crazy. I mean, I thought we were on the tail end of this thing, or at least could see a light at the end of the tunnel.
We are. I think they are not. Or Sydney siders. How do you feel about a Sydney sider as a, like San Diegan, Angelino, Sydney cider? How does Sydney cider rank in your favorite adjectives of city?
It's a little misleading because it makes me feel like it would be the adjacent towns.
Yeah. Like you live outside of Sydney, you're a Sydney cider?
That's what it makes me feel, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it. Overall, I'm okay with it. It's catchy.
I like the ones that are unique, like not just AN at the end. Like I like ites sometimes. Like Paris is probably the best. Parisian, that's good.
Bostonian
is good.
New Yorker's probably the weakest.
New Yorker really is lame. Angelino's good as far as things go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put Sydney cider way up there.
Okay, I got a new baby name I want to pitch to you.
Hit it.
Not only is it great on its own, but it's related to a theme in this show.
I'm excited.
Val.
Oh, yes. Val, and you could go either way. It could be boy. I mean, you're having a boy, but you could have a Val girl, but Val is a boy.
It's better as a boy.
I mean, it's epic as a boy, and you got Val Kilmer, epic.
That's what I'm talking about.
You have Val, of course. I really like it. Strong.
It is strong, isn't it? And I think it's the idea of the vulnerable adult learner. It's a temporary, name. It's temporary jargon that we'll probably wear out in 10 and 15 years from now. I don't think that we'll be referring to kooky beginning surfers as Vals necessarily. Yeah. Even though there was a different iteration of the Val 10 and 20 years ago, I feel like it's a joke that exists in this time. So I can apply the name, but the name won't be jokey for the rest of the kid's life. It's
it'll carry no stigma.
Exactly. It shows my sense of humor right now, but it's actually a cool name. It stands alone as a name.
How does Lauren feel about Val?
She said no, she's not into it.
Why?
But don't worry. Let me work on it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the best things need work.
Wolfgang came back worked back into the rotation unexpectedly.
Is Wolfgang still in rotation?
It wasn't even considered when I first pitched it. And then within the last month, she added it back to the list.
How many names are there roughly on the serious consideration list?
8.
8 names.
Yeah.
8. And how often do names bump in and out?
Every week.
The naming thing, I think, with a kid is one of the most fun of all, at least the early parts of having a child. You're branding this kid forever.
I know. It's crazy.
Did you read about the dude who made I didn't even think it was a bet. He just drunkenly told his friends he was going to change his name to John Cena or Senna or whatever, the wrestler. Is it Senna or Cena?
Yeah. I've always thought it was Cena.
Yeah, whatever it is. Drunkenly told his friends he was going to do it, sobered up the next day, went and did it. I'm a man of my word. I said I was going to do it. So yeah, his name was, whatever it was before, officially changed. He's a British man, changed his name to John Cena.
Incredible. Bravo to that guy.
The whole thing, yeah.
Well, I'm pushing for Val. I just think it's a cool name. And I don't know a single Val,
You know what you should do? If you really want to push Val subtly, you should start rolling into rotation the best of Val Kilmer films, like Top Gun. You could do a little bit
Tombstone.
Tombstone, of course. I mean, you
of course.
You end with Tombstone.
Heat.
Yeah, Heat would be good. I mean, to be quite honest, Doc would be an absolute epic name.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I don't know, that it's like a little too aspirational. Like, I understand that Jesus is the most popular name in Latin America, probably, but naming your kid Jesus is like way too aspirational. I feel like that's really that's trying really hard. And so, I mean, Doc, I feel almost the same way about.
But just think of the Docs that you got Papa Doc and Baby Doc, for example, right? Do you remember Papa Doc and Baby Doc?
No.
Two of the greatest dictators in Haiti's history. His dad was Papa Doc, and then his dictator son was Baby Doc. Baby Doc Duvalier, I think. Yeah.
No, I don't.
So there's good docs out there, I'm saying, who aren't necessarily doctors.
Yeah. No, we got Doc Ball. We got Doc Paskowitz, but he's a doc, I guess.
I think he was, wasn't he?
Paskowitz. Yeah. Yeah, he was. Well, okay. Well, I'll add Doc to the list. I'll see what Lauren how she feels about it.
Just float it out there.
One thing that we need to share with the listeners, this has been on my notes for a couple of weeks, and I don't know how we haven't gotten to it, but this is perhaps the greatest untold story in surfing. And that is Joey Baran's dance videos on Instagram.
Yes. I thought we were going to talk about it last week, and I was prepared. I was so excited to talk about it. And then we didn't. And then I thought, it must not be a topic anymore.
This is not a joke. Joey Baran, first of all, I will give you his qualifications before we ever get to his dance. Top rated California kid from the 70s, the late 70s, actually was the California kid up until Tom Curran came along in the early 80s and bumped him. He was the number 7th ranked surfer in the world in 1983. He won the Pipe Masters in 1984. So he's officially a Pipe Master. He started a professional surfing tour in California, which I think we've all kind of learned is a labor of love and never profitable. And people are only ever disappointed with the way that the tour is operated. It's a thankless job, ultimately, is what I'm saying.
Thankless.
So I think he left kind of disgruntled from that, but he went and became a pastor. So he worked as a pastor. I think it was on the East Coast for a decade or so. He's back in California since. He won the Masters Championship in 1998. And as far as I know, he's still been, and actually went and became the ISA coach for a couple of years up until fairly recently, the last few years. But as far as I know, he's still working as a pastor. I need to reach out to him for a podcast interview. But he's been posting videos, selfie videos. He'll stage a camera, prop it up, and then he'll walk in front of the camera and do hip hop dances and posting them on Instagram. And they are legitimately
phenomenal. Like it's funny, you sent it to me and I thought, oh no, first reaction to anything, right, is, oh no, what's this going to be? I watched it and I thought, God bless Joey Baran. He's doing something that's both fun, interesting. I've not seen this before. Nope. Give me anything in surfing besides milquetoast, right? And Joey Baran is doing something truly, truly unique. Like, how many things do you see in this day and age, especially in surfing, where you say that is one of a kind? I have not seen that before. No. I did not see that coming. I couldn't prepare for it. Like, the whole thing is, I stand and applaud Joey Baran.
When you see 50-year-old man getting in front of a selfie mode on his camera to do anything, I immediately start to cringe. I immediately just think, oh no, please don't do this.
Yeah.
And as soon as he hits like the 3rd or 4th beat in the dance, I've forgotten all about the cringe and I'm completely captivated and I have to watch it till the end.
Yep.
It's epic. And every one of them is like, and he also incorporates positive messaging. Like, he'll either in the caption or sometimes say into the camera, like, hey, I'm just wishing everybody out there a great day. I hope this brings a little bit of light into your day or something to that effect. And I think to myself, you effectively did that to me. And I'm cynical.
Because I think though, like, it's not just hip hop dancing, right? They're like honest to goodness interpretive dancing. Like it's
true. I undersold it by saying hip hop.
He is making, it's like poetry, right? He's not just dancing. He is telling a story, an abstract story about grace or joy or whatever, right? Through his dancing.
It truly is remarkable. And I honestly have never been a fan of dance. I've dated a dancer. I went to dance shows and I like tried to understand it and could only ever feign interest.
Especially
modern, especially interpretive. But you're absolutely right. It's interpretive and it's phenomenal. It's actually really, really good.
It makes me like, it's funny. Of course, I was thinking, I mean, I think about this quite often. I think that cynicism and sarcasm and snark and all this is my, of course, native resting place. And I would imagine, you know, as we grow older and see generations come up behind us and whatnot, that this is like, I just thought all people were kind of cynical and snarky and sarcastic, but it really is, you know, we're all products of our environment. And that's, for me at least, a product of growing up in the grunge era, sort of, when, you know, as a Generation X, you know, where not being sarcastic or cynical about stuff was lame. Like everything had to be sort of out of the gate. But yeah, Joey Baran, like anytime that can break for me, where I see something and want to be cynical or think I'm going to be cynical, and then just think, well, that's phenomenal. All like, there's no reason to make fun of that. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people would watch it and they would think, okay, this is make funnable. It's not. I mean, you can make fun all you want, but it's totally not. This is not make funnable.
Well, he's also just really good at what he does. And so I feel like, there's 9 out of 10 versions of that you would see would be make funnable, but it's undeniably good.
I wonder, how do you think he got the idea? Was he sitting there one day and just thought, I just want to dance?
Well, apparently it looks like he's been dancing his whole life. Like the guy's a professional, you know?
Yeah. I wonder, do you think he dances? Because I think he still's a pastor. Do you think he dances on stage at church?
For sure. I could easily see like the worship music wrapping up and him walking on stage, 30 seconds early and fully getting down before he goes up to the lectern.
Love it. Yeah. Joey Baran, can we please get him on the podcast?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, he's overdue. I don't know how it's taken this long.
He's also in my favorite surf movie of all time. You know, I've talked about it before on the show. Sunriders. Remember SON Riders?
I do.
I do. Christian surf movie. Yeah, it was Joey Baran. I think Mike Lambresi. Oh man, who else was in it? I can't remember who else. But yeah, solid ripping in Sunriders.
So you hear a lot of stories about surfers becoming born again, or finding Christ or whatever. And there's obviously like a series of films that was made about it 10 or 15 years ago. You don't hear as much about surfers who were Christian, who abandoned their Christian upbringing. But Luke Davis, I have a question mark now. Has he abandoned his Christian upbringing? Because he was featured in some of those films that I'm talking about. And I'm not saying he's living a less than Christian life now, but I follow him on Instagram. And I don't know, he's not promoting Christianity on Instagram. Let's put it that way.
But like sometimes promoting Christianity is just in a standard way. Just doesn't look that great, right? Like where you just turn people off automatically.
Well, it puts people off, yeah, totally.
Sure. So maybe Luke Davis is like sneakily working it in to the rest of his material.
I agree. Because Luke Davis, he's weaving it into the party scene in Venice.
Precisely. Because he's not particularly racy on like it. He's, to be honest, this is a wonderful segue to Luke Davis. I watched Luke Davis, like I've always truly enjoyed Luke Davis as his surfing. I've always really liked. Have you liked Luke Davis' surfing?
I love Luke Davis. If I could surf like somebody, it would be Luke Davis.
Yeah. I mean, like he has a real mix of sort of fearless, like go for broke, big tube stuff, but also a real natural, of course, small wave style. Like I've always been very impressed with Luke Davis' surfing. Luke Davis, though, also never fails to entertain me via the socials. Like even, his stuff on, like he's one of the ultimate surfers. I mean, Zeke Lau, we all know wins the ultimate surfer, but Luke Davis is part of the thing. And it should be cringy, right? Anybody who's on that show, it should be full embarrassment. Like, it is an embarrassing premise. The whole thing is embarrassing. Luke Davis somehow makes it look okay.
Yeah, it's credibility to it.
I don't know that it's credibility. Luke Davis may just be Teflon. Like, it doesn't, I feel that whatever Luke Davis is doing, remember when Luke Davis used to be doing workouts with the Cobra Snake? Mark the Cobra Snake?
I don't.
Mark the Cobra Snake is like
I do. I do remember that.
Yeah. And Cobra Snake is honestly like one of the more embarrassing, I feel, things that ever came out of Hollywood. Like, just won't even get into it. Just straight up, to me, straight up cringy embarrassing. Like, his, the party photos and all that is fine, but his Cobra Snake's persona was just like a, scratched record. He starts working out with Luke Davis. I think, oh, that's okay. Like, nothing Luke Davis has ever done has made me think, boo, thumbs down. Like, I'll think boo, thumbs down on everything he's, like, the thing he is doing, and I'll continue to think it after. Like, I will continue to think, unless it's somehow blows my mind, but that Ultimate Surfer is a total laugher. I mean, there's no way that's going to be good, is it? Unless Luke Davis can make it good, I suppose.
We'll find out. I mean, I want drama in it. That'll make it entertaining for me. But I will say, I spent a week in Costa Rica with Luke Davis on a surf trip.
Louis Chip.
Yeah, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And absolutely nicest guy, nicest kid at that time in the world. And so I'm a huge fan. I was already a fan of his surfing prior to that, and I've remained a fan. I think he still surfs amazingly. So I'm a big fan of his. And I think he did get a lot of grief on social media for a while, 5 years ago or 3 years ago or something. I don't know, from like the core surf community.
Sure.
But
it
I'm a fan,
like he doesn't
regardless.
It
he doesn't
like
care. You're right.
He
it's Teflon.
Flat out does not care. It's like, he puts disco dancer emojis on everything, and it's just like he's moving through life the way he wants to move through life, just like Joey Brand.
Well, he's quietly killing it. You surf better. Everybody who's making fun of you, you surf 10 times better than. He's cashing paychecks. He's doing fine with the ladies. It's all good. Like, you can't be bothered by internet trolls at that point.
No. Anyway,
speaking of not being bothered by internet trolls, I've got a compelling email that came through that I really wrote off. It came in and I was just like, this is a stupid concept, not even think. And then I really thought about it and I go, oh my God, this actually might have some validity. So I'm going to run it by you. Okay. This came from a longtime listener, Ryan. He lives in Florida. We've met him at the Florida Surf Film Festival. Okay. Which, by the way, are you going?
Yes. I just am always late in buying tickets. But yeah, I'll be there.
Make it happen.
Yes.
When is that? That's in August?
I think it's the end of August, isn't it?
I think so. Okay, so for listeners, anybody within driving range of New Smyrna Beach, or even if you want to fly in, Florida Surf Film Festival, they do it quarterly. And Chaz and I are going to the next one, which is at the end of August. So look it up on their website, floridasurffilmfestival.com.
But
come
also
join us.
Buy your ticket early. Those things sell out. Like, I've never ever in my life thought a surf film festival could sell out. Last time we were there, pre-COVID, I was coming in and there was a line of cars getting turned away. And I thought, when was the last time in the history of the world, that anyone got turned away from watching a surf film?
Yeah, I mean, surfers are notoriously procrastinators, right? So everybody was like, oh, just show up and buy a ticket. And it's, all those people got turned away. So you're absolutely right. Buy the ticket in advance, but then also schedule a trip, come down. Chaz and I will be there for the weekend and go surfing together. We could have drinks together. It'll be fun. So anyways, Ryan, I think he drives in from Orlando area, but he messaged and he said, this is an unpopular opinion, but is Ben Gravy the Duke Kahanamoku of this generation? And he goes, think about it. Duke, what he's known for is spreading aloha, showing up in Redondo Beach, to do swimming demonstrations, but bringing a surfboard and introducing surfing, showing up in Australia, showing up all around the world and introducing Aloha. Ben Gravy, that's exactly what he does. And a lot of it is to places that have never seen surfing before. It's to the Mississippi River to catch a boat wake. And he said, in kind of rebuttal to what you and I were saying in a previous episode about, he surfs decent, but he's not a professional surfer and he's not surfing great waves. So it's not compelling content for you and I. Ryan said, do a deep dive into the last 10 episodes or so. He surfs pretty heavy Jersey with Rob Kelly and Sam Hammer, outer reefs with Jamie O'Brien and Kalani Chapman, medium size kind of high performance waves with Mason Ho and Kalani Robb. He goes, you guys have embraced the mid-length and the fish, and I think it's time you embrace Ben Gravy. Surfing needs a feel-good story, and he's been it for probably 5 years now. Multiple video edits a week, hardest working dude in surfing, pumping out the content. Is he the new Duke?
Okay, so rebuttal. May I have the floor?
You can. I don't know how you're going to argue with that. He makes a compelling case.
Duke Kahanamoku was a damn sexy man. Very, very good looking. Olympian, and dated movie stars. Doris Day or Doris Duke. I can't remember.
Yeah.
One of some Doris. I think it was a torrid affair between he and her. So by spreading Aloha, what Duke was doing was layering a sexy sheen over surfing that it may or may not have deserved, but we and our impression of surfing, we owe that to Duke, right? Like the way we feel about it, the way we feel that it is like, that it is sexy, right? Surfing is sexy. No? Are you telling me it's not?
It is. No, it is. I'm following everything you're saying. I want you to continue to cultivate the thought.
So what if Duke was Ben Gravy, a gap-toothed corn-fed kid who brought a lot of joy, but was like, would
it have ever stuck?
Cried to camera. Maybe it would have stuck, but maybe it would have just been basically wall ball, or like I can't even think of like some super
spike
nerdy
ball.
Yeah, some
hacky sack.
Exactly, hacky sack. Surfing would have been hacky sack, and so I will say there needs to be some level of sophistication, or that and we all sit and snark and laugh and blah blah blah. But surfing and the best surfing and the way it's best showcased, there has to be some level of, I think, raw desire and things where that's all washed off on Ben, right? It's not spreading Aloha is not necessarily spreading happiness. I mean, Aloha, I feel, would be a more complex thing that involves, sort of animalistic sensuality, even maybe, which Ben Gravy has absolutely none of that. He is spreading happiness, which is great. I don't want to take that away from him, but if Duke and Ben changed spots and it was Ben Gravy who took surfing around the world, we would all be hacky sackers right now.
Man, I went through an emotional roller coaster right now. I was fully agreeing with Ryan for a split second, and now I'm way back on your side, and I'm judging Ryan and all of his things that he values in life, because I couldn't agree with you more. It's also this is the Val apocalypse. He's the first horseman of the Val apocalypse.
He is.
It's everything that we don't want. It's actually the opposite of Duke. It's soft tops. The logos are cheesy. It's soft tops. Yeah. It's really, man. Okay.
I get it. So and good on Ben.
It's right for the time.
And good on him for taking it to tanker surfing and river surfing and take surfing, have the expression of have that be a corny expression of surfing. I'm all fine with that, right? Like if wake surfing all of a sudden had sort of a chic sheen, that wouldn't feel right. That's where Ben Gravy belongs. Ben Gravy just should full stop surfing the ocean. He should just do novelty fun stuff. What Ben Gravy should honestly truly do is get a contract on Celebrity Cruises and just like rip sessions on the Flow Rider on the Celebrity Cruise, and that should be Ben Gravy. Like totally. he could be the Elvis Presley of Celebrity Cruises.
Totally.
Like people take the Celebrity Cruise to go rip a Flow Rider with Ben Gravy.
I'm going to do a deep poll right now, and I hope you can follow. Do you remember Tim Curran's brother, Josh Curran?
No.
Okay. Josh Curran, the younger brother of
Timmy Curran.
Younger. He got really. He was a minor figure in surfing. Like, you know, Timmy was on the ascent in Taylor Steele films and all that. So Timmy got hit.
What was his first air?
The alley-oop.
Yeah, Timmy Curran was the first to do an alley-oop, or first to popularize alley-oops?
He was the first to popularize. I think he's even said that I had him as a guest on the podcast, and I feel like maybe we talked about this, but it was probably 8 years ago. So I'm having a hard time remembering. But
my brother was in a band. He played in Timmy Curran's band.
No way.
My brother and Timmy Curran toured the world together. Yeah.
Well, so I think that Timmy said the alley-oop had been done and was being done, but he was kind of the first to have like a filmer who captured it and hit the VHS, worldwide distribution circuit with it. So it really took off. But Here and Now was his profile film, but it might have been in Taylor Steele's Focus that it actually was profiled or seen. Anyways, he had a younger brother named Josh Curran, and Josh Curran was a really, really good surfer and coming up under Timmy's wings. But he got really into, I want to say it was the snake board. Do you remember the snake board?
Yes, I do.
My memory is having a hard time remembering if it was the snake board, inline skating, or the Razor scooter. But I think the Razor scooter came later. Yeah. And I think inline skating got too popular. So I'm pretty sure it was the snake board that Josh Curran was like, I'm really into surfing and I'm really into snakeboarding. But my older brother's a little bit better than me at surfing, and this snakeboarding thing, I could be the guy. Like, I'm hitting the half pipes and this thing could take off and I could be the guy. And then it just went nowhere fast.
That's exactly what surfing would have been had Ben Gravy traveled the world in 1900 bringing it around. It would have been snakeboarding. That's the perfect analogy.
Thank you. And just to put a bow on that story, 10 years later, I saw his name on the credits for like Jimmy Kimmel Live or something. And I think and then I like researched it or asked somebody, and it turns out he was like in the music business and doing sound production or something for Jimmy Kimmel Live. So he landed on his feet. Despite his snakeboarding career not panning out, he landed on his feet and he's working in Hollywood.
All okay. Well, good on Josh Curran. Is Timmy? I think Timmy's selling real estate now.
Yeah, he remodels like fixer-uppers and flips them and stuff like that. So I wonder, he's doing fine.
Do you think Timmy Curran looks back? Like, Timmy Curran there was a window of surfing there where you could make tons of money, never ever care about surfing, on the tour or anything. I mean, Timmy would surf contests from time to time. I mean, he was on the CT, wasn't he, for a minute?
I forget if he was.
I feel like I watched him surf. I was at Trestles, and he was in a contest there. Like, he must have been a CT surfer. But
I definitely saw him surf with a jersey on. I don't remember if he was CT level or not.
He wouldn't have been. Anyway, he was never a title threat or anything. But there was so much. Remember, who was the dude who was like kind of dark from Newport, who like slept in a coffin and stuff?
Josh Hoyer?
Yeah, Josh Hoyer. I think Josh Hoyer did super well for a couple years, right? Where
he was on Analog, Quicksilver.
The surf industry back then could support like at a proper level. Like, you're living high on the hog. So many surfers, where I feel now you better be either a like stinking dominant CT threat or like, right, not even Kyle Belly. Kyle Belly has to get sponsored by the people. You have to be a dominant CT threat and or a Mason Ho, like have so much like popularity and views and all that, I don't think there's room anymore for, maybe I'm wrong. Is there room for
No,
this class of surfer to get paid?
there's no middle class surfer anymore. Like there was a broad middle class at that time that was making $200,000 to $800,000 a year, and then the top guys were making millions. And right now it's literally like 80,000 or less or millions, and there's none of the middle class.
When I first started doing stuff with Jamie back in the day, like his Twitter and whatnot, this is well before any of To His Job YouTube. Like he wasn't a YouTube celebrity back then, right? He was one of these middle class surfers. Jamie was making I think very close to $2 million a year. Just like being Jamie off sponsorships, not on like the craziest popularity ever, not on like millions of YouTube views, right? Like, yeah, he had his freak side and his, he was a known surfer. It's not like he was an unknown guy, but like near $2 million a year, enough to buy, I think, multiple North Shore properties. And he's always really smart with his money, but like, I don't think a Jamie O'Brien in this day and age is, Jamie O'Brien pre-YouTube is going to be getting tons of money.
The difference between that time and this time is it was all merit based. So Jamie O'Brien was getting paid that much money because he was one of the best surfers in the world, whether he was on tour or not.
Yeah.
And so the companies valued that and compensated appropriately for it. That's no longer the case. So you have somebody like Connor O'Leary, who is not one of the best surfers in the world, but he's like, I mean, way better than a lot of people who are making a living off of YouTube or in other ways. But the talent doesn't matter anymore. Now it's more about clout, popularity, all that sort of stuff. So the aforementioned Luke Davis, Connor O'Leary's an infinitely better surfer than Luke Davis, objectively. Sure. But Luke Davis can earn a better living because Luke Davis has more Instagram followers and he's on TV and that sort of stuff,
Do you think that Luke makes more than Connor?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's
he's sponsored. He's sponsored.
Sure.
Connor's not,
So weird. It's really truly the broad upper middle class of professional surfer. You can't do anymore. Like if you start as a kid, you better get on the CT or start surfing tanker wakes.
Yeah, I mean, literally start a YouTube channel. And so I think that's the other angle, is just work the Instagram. I think we're kind of transitioning now into a time where you actually don't have to do that. You can hire people to do that for you. And
hopefully this all goes away. Like, I think it could be well argued that day and age where, middling surfers were making hundreds of thousands of dollars was silly. But this, like, I don't need to see another Instagram thing, right? I don't need another vlog.
I agree. I don't need a vlog, but I do need Joey Baran dancing on Instagram. You know what I mean?
Yes, totally. I mean, I'm not necessarily over Instagram. Just like some kid who's going to get on there and start posting clips of him and, whatever he thinks is going to be attention grabbing, like either, barrels and whatever. I'm just tired.
So, yeah, I actually interviewed Cruz Denofa's dad, Tim Denofa, a month or two ago. And we talked about a lot of this, and he's got his head screwed on so straight and tight, and he's assessing all of the same things. And the reality is his kid actually has talent, but if you're just going to focus on the talent, then you just need to focus on the CT. But if you also recognize, look, maybe my kid won't want to surf competitively. He's 11 years old. I have no idea what he's going to want to do. So let's at least start a YouTube channel. Let's at least start Instagram and post on there. And the way that he's managing it is he's the one behind the camera and doing all the editing. So he can kind of control, and he's also running the accounts himself. So he also controls the direct messages and who's contacting the family. Cruz doesn't have direct access.
Doesn't that seem like the worst, most tiring, exhausting work ever though?
Yeah. And he kind of talked about that too, is that it's not sustainable. He can do it now. He's a professional photographer for a living, shoots weddings and stuff. So he can kind of do it now, make it work for his schedule. But it's definitely not sustainable if you're working a 9 to 5.
No. And I mean, my goodness gracious, does, like, what caused this shift? I mean, besides just the, I suppose, economics of surfing in general shifting, but is it that the CT, for whatever reason, really finally locked down the top talent, or that's where everybody, or it's CT, the WSL locked down the top talent, where outside
Not at all.
I mean, outside of the WSL CT, though, you got Mason Ho. What other surfers like really grab you?
I mean, a longer list than there's ever been before. They just don't fit on the tour. I think the problem is those guys were also, I mean, the Craig Anderson, Dane Reynolds, Ry Crakey, Hector Santamaria, Torrin Martin.
But you don't, like, yeah. I mean, I guess if you follow their channels, then you see them.
Solely, I mean, yeah. But that's the thing is, though, all those people were supported by the brands previously, but it turns out it was an inequitable relationship. Like paying 30 people $500,000 a year is not like they don't see a return on that money. Quicksilver realized we need 2 guys, or maybe 3 or 4 guys. We need a CT guy, we need an Australian guy, we need a California guy, and whatever. And that's what they don't need 30 of them. They don't see a return on that investment. And so I think it went away for good reason. It was because it never really worked in the first place. It was just that surfing was experiencing a boom for 10 years and it all became a wash on the ledger sheet, but it wasn't actually, those guys weren't paying for their own salaries.
I guess I like it when the surf industry is not a well-run business, when they're just throwing money away on surfers, as opposed to like making a profit, right? I mean, on the note, I was cruising through Kai Lenny's Instagram for some reason the other day. It just popped up. Saw that he was in, I think it was Florida, doing a Hurley. There was like a Hurley signing. New Jersey. That's where it was. Him and Brett Simpson, and I thought, like, it totally struck me. Kai Lenny is still on Hurley, and so is Simpo and these guys, and good on him, I guess. But Hurley is like the kookiest brand in the world now. I mean, it's honestly making beard oil and inflatable pool toys. Like, so what do they even? Why do they care? But I suppose that's it. Like, as long as you got Kai Lenny, you got Brett Simpson, you got like one other guy.
Eli Hanneman.
So you got like 3 real solid names. And with Kai and Eli, you have the Olympic surf coach in Brett. You have Kai Lenny, arguably the most exciting, mainstream, whatever, surfer in the world, or surf name in the world. And then Eli Hanneman, full ripping grum. So I guess you don't need any more. But that's
the new equation
from their thinking. But yeah, I want Josh Hoyers of the world, I suppose, now getting paid $300,000 to just kind of be weird in Newport.
I'll be honest. I don't think that $300,000 serves him well. I think we're in a far better time now. And I think that surfer will actually excel and thrive at surfing if they're getting paid nothing, or if they're working as a plumber during the day and then going out and surfing.
But back to Timmy Curran. Do you think he looks back onto his?
Oh yeah, Timmy Curran
on his high years, on his like getting paid. I mean, Timmy Curran was probably near or over $1 million there for 5 years or 6 years.
So Eli Hanneman is to Hurley what Timmy Curran was to Quicksilver at that time.
Yeah, and so he was crushing it. He was on the CT. He was he exited, I'd say 5 to 7 years too early. So it's all coming back to me now. My interview with him from 8 years ago is coming back to me. The reason why he exited was anxiety. He had like a crippling level of anxiety, and it was CT related. It was mainly contest related, but it was to the point that like he couldn't leave his hotel room. And so of course that extends to his competitive performance, where his free surfing is on par with the best surfers in the world, but his competitive surfing wasn't even, on par with the CT. And so that disparity created a lot of
a lot of stress and trauma and all that sort of stuff. So he kind of departed, I think, what he thought would be temporarily, but he ultimately never came back. But he could have ridden out that high paying salary for another 5 to 7 years and been set, you know.
Do you think he looks back on that time and says, wow, I made a lot of money surfing? How weird is that? Or does he look back on that and just say, oh yeah, you know, that was my job then, and then I have a real estate job now?
He seems pretty level-headed and actualized. I think he sees it for what it is. I think he's grateful for it, for what it was, you know.
I watched all this is, I mean, I know we're well off topic here. It's cocktail hour, I suppose, a cocktail show. But I watched Momentum Generation for the first time a couple nights ago.
I saw that in your notes or in one of your articles. Guess
what I did? I double headered in one night. Momentum Generation chased straight by Kissed by God.
You could have skipped that.
Well, both of them were 18 hours too long each. They were both.
So it must have been on Hulu. Like one plays after another.
No, but both are available, right? One was on HBO, I think, and the other one's on Hulu. My goodness, they're too long. But also, not being cynical and sarcastic and Generation X-y, I enjoyed them both. I thought Momentum Generation was like, I ain't a huge fan of nostalgia in general, but Momentum Generation was like enjoyably nostalgic. You know, I felt that everybody was pretty open, and it was fun sort of reliving that. And Kissed by God, I think that arc was good. Like it was just literally an hour too long.
It was too sappy, I felt.
I mean, it just went on and 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 on. I didn't finish either.
Yeah. So Momentum Generation,
an hour and a half, or I got through an hour and 10 minutes, I think, of both. So I didn't finish either.
I feel like Momentum Generation was good because legitimate filmmakers made that movie, you know, like, and we hung out with them in Florida at the Florida Surf Film Festival, the Zimbalist brothers. Yeah. Michael Zimbalist. You were there, right?
I don't think so on that one.
I was there. I interviewed him with Marcus Sanders.
Oh,
you were there with Marcus, right?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Well, anyways, their film was showing there, and
it was
the
showing
filmmaker was there. Yeah. Whether you made it or not is a different story. Anyways, they're filmmakers. You know what I mean? Like, they don't come from surfing. They come from New York, and they make a bunch of music. He's made a bunch of music documentaries before. And so they're just kind of assessing it from like what is, from a filmmaking, but as a professional filmmaker, but also as like, what is this subculture and how do we tell the story of this subculture? And so they did a great job with that, I thought.
Keep going.
Well,
I have a real beef that I just remembered.
You go then, because mine is tangential.
In surfing, I don't know if other subcultures have this disease. In surfing, the disease of anything that anybody's doing is the first time that's ever happened. Like, stinking Momentum Generation guys were all talking about how you couldn't make a living being a surfer before then. Like, remember there was all this like, being a pro surfer is not a career path. You fucking kidding me? It's the exact same thing they were saying in stinking Busting Down the Door, which was from 1970. You guys were 20 years later, and
the numbers changed.
I literally grew up with that Momentum Generation. I mean, I'm all their same age. Yes, you could be a pro surfer then. Tom Curran came before you. Remember, he was like making a living being a surfer. There was a bunch of people making Aki, Martin Potter, and then before that, Robert Bartholomew. Like, well, you were the third generation of people making a living as surfers, and they would all literally look to camera and say, "This wasn't a career path, right?" Like, which I'm thinking, why in the world are you saying that? There was so much of that in there. Like the movie, nostalgic, but there was so much of that where I'm like, why are you saying this? This is objectively untrue.
The definition of making a living changed over the years. I mean, when they're talking about it in Busting Down the Door, they literally mean they can't afford to buy a plane ticket to the next contest, and they can't afford a hotel, so they have to sleep on somebody's sofa, and they can't afford meals, so they have to work a side job when they get to Hawaii in order to buy food.
What did Kelly Slater mean?
So in Momentum Generation, they met the friends of ours that went to college who are working for hedge funds are making $300,000 a year, and we can't make that living. You couldn't make that living in surfing until we came along, is what they meant. We couldn't keep up. We couldn't buy property in California.
Martin Potter for sure was making hundreds of thousands of dollars on Gotcha, on
was he?
everything.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Yes. Like, I mean, it's just a flat out lie, but I guarantee, I honestly want to make a movie now with Luke Davis, where he sits and looks at camera and say, man, I was just riding a surfboard. This was not a living, and then all of a sudden I got a little bit of money and, I'm the first person to ever make a living from surfing. I mean, like, I don't know what's wrong in their brains. It is really frustratingly dumb. Like, just call it what it is. Say we are the third or fourth generation to get paid to surf, and we got paid well. It's great. Yeah. It's awesome. Like, we all dreamed of being pro surfers because that was a thing. We had surf magazines and we saw it, and like, I think it's Taylor Knox who's like flipping through the surf magazine and said, my buddy, I'm going to be one of these guys. But it's like, doesn't exist, man. Like, cool.
You know what I want to bring? You know what I want to bring back? I want to bring back Big Ball O'Con.
Big Ball, that's where I tapped out. That's how far I got into Momentum Generation. Now that I think about it. I really love that scene.
Big Ball O'Con. Here, I interviewed Pat O'Connell a month ago, and I had it in my notes to address his big balls, and I chickened out.
Oh, what? How did you not? He like talks about it openly and honestly in Momentum Generation.
The vibe was wrong.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I was like, we're here to talk about Florence. Well, we're here to talk about Florence Marine X. I don't know how his balls fit into the context of this broader conversation.
But they should. Florence Marine X should honestly do a Big Ball O'Con little
board shorts with a giant package area up front.
I love it. I mean, I've been wearing, you see me, I wear a drop crotch pant regularly. That's what Florence Marine X should do, is a drop crotch pant for big ball. Like, just call it the
drop crotch board short.
Yep. Drop crotch board short. I would totally buy it. I'd 1000% in on that.
It's triple B.
Yeah.
The big ball board short.
Love it. Just imagine who would buy. I mean, even if they made 10, they would sell out. I think we should do this.
we should absolutely do this. Beach Grit, new line of board shorts. You've done one in the past. This will be the second line.
The first line.
Edition 2.
First line was back when board shorts, ours were, did you ever have a pair of our board shorts?
I own a pair. I've got them upstairs. I wore them for Lauren one time. She laughed me out of the room.
How great are they? They're Derek
What's
Riley's
the inseam? 6 inches?
It's something. It's like maybe 8 inch. It might have an 8-inch inseam.
I'm not the most well-endowed man, but even I hang below those board shorts.
Well, you should take those out. All it takes, you put on a short, and sort of the ship has sailed on short being cool. But the first time I wore a very short pair of trunks, I was the standard Andy Irons before that, right? Like at the knee, hitting the knee, hitting the mid kneecap was my board short length. Where do yours hit now?
Mine are, I think, 11-inch inseam, like above the knee and well above the knee, like 3 or 4 inches above the knee.
Yeah, I'm still at Beach Grit length on most of my board shorts. Like I am, like I'm going to say embarrassingly little. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm headed towards Speedo. So that's where I'm going. The only thing that would get me off the Speedo path that I'm on is a drop crotch board short.
I agree. Florence Marine X, you hear us.
Yeah.
We know you're listening. We know you're listening. We will market it for free. This is not a paid advertisement. We won't charge you for that advertisement. We will market it for free. Drop crotch board short in honor of
we know. And if Pat is embarrassed, they can just be called the president. The board short itself can be called the president. That's it.
Or the present.
Yeah.
The present. However, nobody wants big balls. That's the joke. The joke is on Pat O. Nobody wants big balls. Guys don't want big balls. They're uncomfortable. Women don't have anything to do with them. Like, they don't need them.
I mean, Pat liked his, though.
Jokes
in
on
Moment
Pat.
Generation, it seemed Pat was happy.
Well, he liked to make jokes about it. Like, it became, it became comedic. But I don't know. They like carrying him around.
Since I didn't finish, is the Todd Chester, because they're really building up to Todd Chester's death. Is that a real tearjerker? I pulled out before then.
I'm gonna say yes, but I haven't seen it since the Florida Surf Film Festival, so I can't.
What was I doing during that showing?
I have no idea, dude. I don't keep tabs.
Why didn't I want to see it? Why didn't I want to watch it then? Why did I only watch it 5 years later?
I just remember really accosting Jack Coleman.
Oh, yeah.
He was having a nice conversation with ladies and fans of his. And he had like a little group going, and you and I burst into the group like, hey, everybody, be quiet. We got something to tell Jack. And then we told him this concept about he surfs finless. And we're just like, we will not let you go down like that. Like, if...
I remember that.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, getting fans into Jack Coleman's board. Yeah.
We're like, if you end up dead, we will put fins in your board so none of your family knows. Yeah. And like, we'll put you, we'll position it in such a way that they think you actually were riding it with fins. And he was just staring at us like, what are you guys talking about? We're like, we got your back, Jack. It's okay. Yeah.
Don't worry. You will not die finless. You will not bring shame on your family. Yeah. Exactly. I still stand behind that. Jack Coleman should not be riding finless.
At the time, it was so funny. I just don't.
He surfs way too good. He surfs way too good to be riding finless. Anybody who rides finless, unless you suck, Ben Gravy can ride finless. You have at it, right? Dude, little twirly flips, little sliding 360s all day long. If you're Ben Gravy, Jack Coleman had such a good surf style. I feel the same about Derek Hine. Like, he's got such a good surf style. You're wasting it on finless shit.
I know. So I agree with you about Jack. It's hard to argue with Derek. Derek's on such a different level, dude. And
no, he gets allowed to be on a different level. We're all derelict surfers.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
He needs to put friggin' fins in there and like surf beautifully. Fins allow you to surf beautifully. Finless is a crappy expression of surfing.
So you want to hear the raddest concept ever? This will bring you back into the Derek Hine camp. He is recreating every surfboard that he ever owned by memory. He's shaping them. Yeah. And he's making them available. He did. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So Derek Hine, you're saying Derek Riley wrote about it. Derek Hine, and he's calling it Hineline, which is such a genius branding idea. But he's doing it all from memory.
Love it. Love Derek Hine. I'm just going to stand up and say, Derek Hine, put damn fins in your board. Finless, unchill. I dare him.
Here's another detail I don't understand about this. He lost an eye to a surfboard fin. So any logical person would just rationalize, so he stopped surfing with fins because he lost his eye to his fin, right? No. That's not why he stopped surfing with fins. It has nothing to do with him losing his eye to his fin.
Why did he stop? He was over it. He needed like a new
friction free. He wants to go faster. He wants to go friction free. He doesn't call it finless. It's friction free. He wants to go as fast as humanly possible. The fins were holding him back.
Get on a damn surf mat. That's how you go faster. Like if speed on the water is your thing, there's ways to go faster. It's not fins out of your surfboard.
Yeah, it is, apparently.
I mean, have you seen those surf mat? We've talked about it on the show. The dude going like Mach 7 down the line.
I think that footage was speed up.
The Maury Mach 7 for a hot minute. I'm just going to really margarita tangent here to Danny Kim. Where does Danny Kim stand in your surf hierarchy? Remember Danny Kim? The dude who surfed boogie boards? Would stand up on
Danny Kim?
Yes.
Really?
Danny Kim.
That's not the name I'm thinking of.
You're thinking of Danny Kwok, who did not do that. It's Danny Kim.
I'm not thinking of Danny Kwok either. I'm thinking of somebody else. But maybe it's old fashioned brain.
Yeah,
is not allowing me to access the name.
Someone
yeah,
can. But
I mean,
stand up surfing a boogie is sick, right?
That guy was insane. The guy that I'm thinking of, a regular footer surfing backdoor and stuff.
That's it. There was only one who did it. It was Danny Kim. I think.
Okay. I just couldn't access the name. I'm
just keep saying the name Danny Kim until it's probably not at all his name. But yeah, how is nobody doing that?
That's high. That's high on my list.
Exactly. Like he to me is a surf icon. That dude.
We need to reach out. That guy deserves a podcast interview too.
I mean, there's two: Joey Brand, Danny Kim, if that's his name. Also, though, back to Hind doing his friction-free crap on like how big are his boards that he's doing that junk on?
Well, I mean, he's got. When we were in Florida with him, he was riding like a 7 something, but
dumb.
You see him on 11 footers too.
Yeah, stupid. Get on a surf mat if you want to go fast. Otherwise, put damn fins in your board.
I'll let you have that conversation with him. I want whatever he's on. And the reality is he's on nothing. Like he's sober and he's always been. He's like super straight edge. That's part of his deal. But he's on a totally different plane. And that's how I feel about a lot of, I don't know, filmmaking or whatever is like, I wish I aspire to be on that plane and I can't because I feel an obligation to the people in my life and I got to go to work and I got to pay whatever, but I wish I was on that plane.
But could you like, even if, let's say, all responsibility was lifted off your shoulders, you came into a sum of money and the only stipulation was, David Lee, you go be freaky, creative, weird. Whatever's in your mind, man, make that thing come true. Would you end up interpretive dancing on Instagram?
Well, I wouldn't want to rip off Joey Baran, so it would have to be, yeah.
Of course,
yeah.
but
I would like to think so.
If left to your wildest own devices, would you come up with something iconically strange, like Joey Baran, like Derek Hind?
Again, those guys have talent. I don't know that I have that level of talent, to be perfectly honest. In addition to that, pragmatism is part of my character and personality, for better or worse. And I think the pragmatism blocks so much of that free expression. I would need to be on mushrooms in order to access what you're talking about.
Okay, what if real Matrix moment here, Neo, or it wasn't Neo, Morpheus, let's just say in the form of Bob Hurley. Bob Hurley, you wake up in the morning one day.
I like where this is going. Leave
your home, open your door. You're like bleary-eyed, coffee mug in hand, ready to head out to your job. Bob Hurley is standing there. Bob Hurley says, in one hand, I have a great stable life for you. In the other,
a finless surfboard.
I have a bunch of acid. Like, you may like fully get to do this and then, self-realize something. Yeah. But I also have stability. Which do you choose?
Dive into the acid. I wouldn't even dive in. I would actually dive in with an open mouth, so my mouth catches it out of his hand head first and just swallow it all. I want the experience.
So that's what you want. You would love a
bring me, Bob.
Yeah. Okay. So then why don't you do it though? You could, not that why don't you go do acid, but you could go blow it all up right now.
I got baby Val on the way.
Precisely. How many parents have thrown young kids? Look at Doc Paskowitz. Didn't he pack his whole 18 million children up and just do weird stuff?
He did.
Children are, I would argue, baby on the way is even more of an excuse to just go weird. If Lauren may be uncomfortable, but if you're charismatic enough, you could say, hey, Lauren, I've had a vision, man. I was drinking Manhattans and boom.
Old fashioned.
We are selling everything. You can't buy a Sprinter and stuff, but you could come up with something weird enough. We're going to move to somewhere weird and do something.
Okay.
Jerry Lopez moved to Bend, Oregon. I thought that was weird.
True. It's very weird.
A lot of weird things you can do. Just saying.
Everybody moves to Bend, Oregon. All right. We'll work on the concept.
Okay.
Should we? I've got Greg Noll in my notes. I've got a couple of other things. I think we need to can it till next week, and we should just go to commercial.
Okay, but let's hit Greg Noll real quick. Let's hit Greg Noll real quick.
I have a question for you, but if there's anything you want to say about Greg Noll before I give you the prompt, feel free.
Prompt me.
Great. He would be the greatest character in a Hollywood film of all time. If we can get Hollywood to make a film about surfing, and it could be about any surfing topic, the Greg Noll film would be the best film because he is the best character.
I think the problem with it is he's so archetypically male, moving from big wave surfing to fishing in Crescent City to just his demeanor, like the way I feel. Yes, I agree with you. It'd be a phenomenal film. I feel this is not the time or place where a film about an arch male would do well. I mean, he is purely arch male, right?
Which is why we need him.
Sure, but I feel
we need for every Miley Cyrus, what was Hannah Montana comes along, and it's like it's so far that way that she snaps back with the Miley Cyrus of today. We need a yin and a yang. And so we're living in a time where masculinity is canceled.
Yes.
Full stop, And so now we need the rubber band effect backwards. And this is why Greg Noll should exist today.
I hear you. Totally hear you. Totally agree. And also think that the person who we've all, I think, anybody in surf or interested in surf or paying attention to surf for the last, X amount of years, has thought that, or has read and knows about Greg Noll. And Greg Noll's great. Greg Noll's wonderful. Everybody knows him. Everybody knows the story. The person who writes him best is Matt Warshaw. Matt Warshaw has to write the Greg Noll movie. I think Warshaw got Noll better than anyone.
And Warshaw, I don't disagree. And Warshaw's been underpaid. The EOS has been underfunded for a long time. This could be Warshaw's windfall.
How Warshaw should write the ultimate Greg Noll bio, and then just flip it into a movie.
Just make it a movie from the get-go. Just write the script. This is Warshaw's windfall. This is the turning point for Hollywood surf cinema because it's never worked before. So this will be the first one that works. And it's because Greg Noll is the greatest character.
Who plays Greg?
Jack Black.
Oh, that's good. That's solid.
You thought I was going to go Christian Bale, maybe Hugh Jackman, Jack Black.
I totally see it and love also. I feel that actors who are stuck, painted with a comic brush, like a Jim Carrey or whatever, really jump at and deliver when they're offered up a serious role, like not a comedic role.
Fully agree. Jim Carrey, what did he do? The Majestic, I think it was, after he did a series of comedies.
Yep. And then, The Majestic, I think, was his first like serious one where you're
trying to break the stereotype. So there's a lot of examples of it, but I think that Jack Black actually has the talent to pull it off.
Best dang Sandler film of all time, Punch Drunk Love. P.T. Anderson. Have you seen Punch Drunk Love?
Of course. I'm a huge P.T. Anderson fan.
Punch Drunk Love is in my probably top 5, maybe even top 3 favorite movies of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not even in my top 3 P.T. Anderson movies of all time.
Watch it again. Literally watch it again. Watch the entire thing, the pacing, the Royal Hawaiian, all of it is epic.
There Will Be Blood is number 1 by a long shot.
Boring.
Are you kidding me?
Great, but overwrought. Like stinking
masterpiece.
Daniel Day-Lewis, acting Daniel Day-Lewisy, just too much. Overwrought.
Magnolia,
fantastic.
Amazing.
Magnolia
is number 2.
Punch Drunk Love beats Magnolia just because, again, it's so simple. It's quiet.
I'll try it. I'll try it.
Head back in. Head back into Punch Drunk. I feel you're missing Punch Drunk.
Okay, so Greg Noll, played by Jack Black. Do you have any other offers for who should play that role?
No, I think Jack Black is perfect. I think it should be written by Matt Warshaw, and the last piece of this puzzle directed by who? Jim Cameron.
No.
Written by Matt Warshaw, played by Jack Black, about Greg Noll, directed by
Who's the guy that did Dallas Buyers Club, Wild, and the first seasons of Big Little Lies?
Not that guy.
I love that guy.
Really?
That French dude.
Paolo.
How about Paolo Sorrentino?
Okay, yeah.
We can agree on that.
Yeah, Paolo Sorrentino. Fully in on that. Yes.
He needs a new film. He needs a new film too.
We should put this together. We should EP this thing.
Do you know
we know the piece. I got an agent. Don't you worry. I'm in Mexico with an agent.
Let's do it. Should we go to commercial?
Do it.
All right, Chaz, we're back from commercial break.
That Athletic Green. Guess what I brought?
Wait, should we do an ad for Athletic Greens? Let's do it.
Guess what I stinking brought with me to Mexico?
You brought the little packs?
I brought like 3 things: 2 t-shirts, 1 pair of trunks, a tightly bound of the little packs of Athletic Green. I don't leave home without it.
What happens if you mix it with Mexico water?
Delicious.
Does it cancel out? Does it cancel out the?
No. Have we talked about cast iron stomach yet?
Yeah. I mean, a little bit. I don't know what conversation you're trying to go down now, but.
I mean, you're supposed to drink a little of the local water. That's always, I mean, I don't overdo it, but it's important.
What do you mean supposed to? Who recommends that?
How in the world are you supposed to inoculate your body to that's why I still eat fast food to this day. I'm on a program of perpetual inoculation.
Okay.
So
you drink Mexico water?
Sometimes.
I'll brush my teeth with Mexico water.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
I don't ingest it.
Next time, suck a little bit off the bristles and take it down.
I don't know about that. I've actually drank. Yeah. So I think that Athletic Greens is potent enough to cancel out the amoebas that exist in Mexico water.
All I know is I love Athletic Greens.
athleticgreens.com/surf.
Get vitamin D.
I'm always worried. I've never expressed this concern to anybody, but I'm always worried that people are going to just go to athleticgreens.com and sign up. And they're not going to put /surf in. And then what if there's like 30 people out there that are supporting it, using it, benefiting from it, and we are not getting acknowledged because of it? Don't
do that. You need it.
So
everyone
sad.
out there needs it. And you need to /surf it.
I agree. athleticgreens.com/surf. And you get a year free of vitamin D.
I think I introduced the fact that it was a / or insisted that it was a /. I don't think it actually is. I think it's a /surf.
Just call it a /. It's just athleticgreens.com/surf. I do remember that conversation. It was really confusing to me.
Yeah.
I don't remember how we ended up, but /surf is good enough. And everything you need to compensate for all of your shortcomings in your diet.
It's fantastic.
All right, Chaz, we're officially back from commercial.
Great.
So are you going to be celebrating 4th of July in Mexico?
It's funny. Yes. Because you want to know who does fireworks better than anyone else?
Countries that have illegal fireworks available.
Yes. So Ukraine, country of Georgia. I've been to a lot of countries with banging fire, rando firework celebrations, right? Lebanon loves a good firework. Mexico also loves a good firework. So I feel I will be celebrating better than anyone else in drought-stricken, heat-bashed America.
Why are they celebrating 4th of July in Mexico or Lebanon or anywhere?
I mean, I don't know that they necessarily are celebrating 4th of July. Just for me, 4th of July is attached mostly solely to fireworks. So any country that has good fireworks, and inevitably fireworks get shut off in these countries, And so then I just think, oh, this is a good 4th of July celebration.
It doesn't matter what time of year you're visiting. Fireworks happen to be going on.
No, we're just playing 4th of July. Unlike you, I grew up in Oregon. That was allowed. We weren't allowed like the M80s and whatnot. Like it wasn't a full, like open firework thing. But I always remember coming down to California and feeling sad for Californians, like I felt sad for my Jehovah's Witness friends in school, that you guys couldn't do fireworks, because fireworks and 4th of July, like we'd buy always the big pack and just, spend an hour blowing them off in the driveway.
You're right. It is a shame in California how restricted it is. But my family had a house in Baja for the first 25 years of my life. And so we would go, we wouldn't necessarily go down on the 4th of July, but we went down once a month. And we'd buy illegal fireworks. Yeah, we'd buy illegal fireworks every time we went down there. And so we'd go down to the beach and just light them off all the time. So it was a part of my life. Yeah.
I mean, for the listeners who live in places that are restrictive, especially if you have kids, it doesn't have to be for the 4th necessarily. It could be for any time. Go to a state that's not, and honestly, just like go to one of those illegal firework depots, fill a shopping cart full, go out to the desert and just blow off fireworks for hours and tell me you're not as happy as you've ever been in your life.
Yeah, it really is. It's childlike giddiness is what it is.
Watching that dang fuse, and sometimes there's duds, which is always fun too, right? Like, cause you gingerly approach, not knowing if you're gonna get shot in the face, that it actually goes up. But like the whole thing is fun.
So last year we were in Austin, or at a lake outside of Austin. So Texas, everything's legal. And it was on the lake, but like it was a house that we rented, Airbnb house, that was on a hillside that you had to take an actual funicular down the hillside, down to the dock. I was the only one who knew what it was actually called. Everybody's calling it a gondola, but it's actually a funicular.
It's a funicular, and I'm so glad that you know that.
Yeah, because it's on a track. It's not on a rope, right?
I didn't know Gandhi's on a rope.
Exactly. So, but I stopped saying it because I just sound like a douche saying the actual term and correcting people. Anyways, you had to take this funicular down the side of the hill to the dock. So the house has a dock, and then you can go in the lake. And it's kind of terraced along the way. But this, 100-yard funicular ride took 2 minutes because those things go so slow, right?
Yeah.
So Lauren's dad and brother-in-law bought a bunch of fireworks, and they go down to the terrace, like down 3 or 4 terraces, and they're going to shoot the fireworks off of the lower terrace so that us up at the house on the ground level can see it like at eye level. It's like our own private fireworks show, right? So they shoot them all off, and everybody celebrates or whatever. Then they ride the funicular up, exit, come out. We're like, hey, great job, high fives, back slaps. And then look down at the terrace, and it's on fire. Perfect.
I mean, that is if you don't set something on fire when you're fireworking, you're doing it wrong, or you're not going big enough.
Exactly. And we're like, it's an Airbnb, like security deposit. We are going to say goodbye to that. Like their property is now on fire, and we need to go down there and extinguish this fire. And it's just shrubbery that's on fire. Like whatever the firework canister was hot and smoldering. So when they walked away, it caught the shrubbery on fire, and that's probably now what's burning. And it wasn't raging, and it wasn't catching a bunch of things, but it was a fire. Burning. But this freaking funicular takes a minute to get down there. So it's like they jump back in it and push down, and we just sit there at the top watching them go down like a Wes Anderson movie, just like watching them go as slow as possible. The fire is slowly growing, and these guys are slowly going down, and also without a fire extinguisher, just like going down to like stomp it out or something. And ended up, they were able to stomp it out. Wasn't a big deal, but it was funny.
That is totally awesome. That's a great story.
In the moment, it was amazing.
Yeah.
We're going back, by the way, after 4th of July. We're going on July 7th. So next week we need to do this via Zoom as well.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to be zooming for a while. I'm going to be zooming from Italy now.
I was going to say, so you're sailing the Mediterranean. Will you have Wi-Fi?
I'll figure it out. There's got to be like LTE in Italy, right?
I mean, if you're out on the ocean, maybe not. If you're at a hotel, then yes.
Well, it won't be a hotel, but I think it'll be Amalfi Coast. So I'm hoping that there's the LTE extends. We won't be out at sea.
Okay, so next week we're on. The following week we might be off.
Yes.
Okay, so listeners, prepare yourselves.
Yeah.
I'll publish a rerun. I'll publish your and Ashton's fight. How's that? All right. Barrel or nah? We got all 4th of July themed this week. Barrel or nah? Hot dogs.
Barrel. Like hand drag up, like maybe the biggest barrel of this show.
Really?
I'll tell you, if you like baseball, I love baseball. You know that about me. Love baseball. Baseball and hot dogs, perfect combination, which I wasn't a huge hot dog fan before baseball. Baseball has made me maximum. So this is going to sound stupid here. It's going to sound braggy.
Won't be the first thing in the show that sounded stupid.
Don't want it to sound braggy, but it's going to sound like I'm really big up. But friends with the Padres owner, fantastic guy. So I get to go to the owner's box time to time. And of course, the owner's box, the Padre at Petco Park, have a lot of fancy meals up there. I'll only get a hot dog. That's all I eat. I get a hot dog instead of the filet mignon, instead of whatever fabulous thing the chef has prepared. Get a hot dog, mustard, ketchup, relish, onions, boom.
Okay, now I'm offended. You're putting ketchup on it too?
Of course. Hold on. The works. Everything they have to. I'll do regularly nacho cheese too. Dumb nacho cheese. Oh my God. Yeah.
So how many hot dogs do you eat a year?
Oh, only at baseball. Okay. So whenever I go to a baseball game.
So your association with hot dogs, it's more ceremonial than it is the actual dog itself.
But I love it. I like that hot dog in that moment. And I don't go back for seconds, right? It's not like, ooh, give me another hot dog. No, only one hot dog. But a hot dog at a baseball stadium is the greatest meal a man can have.
If you go to Costco, do you get a hot dog?
No.
Okay. Because they try to make like a quality hot dog. It's better quality beef. So a hot dog is I feel like our international listeners might not even have access to a hot dog. They have access to sausages, which are higher quality and totally great. I love different sausages in different countries. No jokes, please. But a hot dog in America is the lowest common denominator. And it's literally a sack of meat. And it's the face meat. It's the hoof meat. It is, I don't even know if it's actually meat, to be perfectly honest with you. It is disgusting. It is almost inedible. And so the reason why you're adding all of those things to it is because the vessel itself, the tube steak, is inedible.
You need the tube steak though. But as you're talking about it, I realized that hot dog at a ballpark is probably my favorite food of all time. My second favorite food of all time, nipping at its heels, is spam musubi anywhere in Hawaii.
Yeah, those things go hand in hand.
Yeah, so
they're cut from the same cloth.
I suppose I love a crazy processed face meat.
Says the guy who drinks Mexico water. It's par for the course.
Are you not barreling a dog?
Dude, I love the thing that you're saying, like the ceremony of it. I love all of that, but I feel terrible after I eat it. Like, yeah, even one, I'm just like this. I wake up in the morning, I go, God, why am I moving slowly? This was a bad decision. Why is my brain not functioning?
Nope. Best food on earth. In the right place. I will take a hot dog at a baseball stadium over any other food on earth anywhere.
I think so. You adding ketchup to it really threw me for a loop because ketchup is sweet And like hot dog needs disgusting flavors on it. Relish, onions, sauerkraut, even.
Oh, I love sauerkraut on there. I'll do it. Like, if there is a topping bar for the hot dog, I will put every one of them on. I will put sauerkraut and nacho cheese and onions and relish and. There's no peeling back. There's only more.
All right. I'm going to try your method then. Maybe I've been taking it too seriously. Maybe I need to drown it.
You drown it at a ballpark.
So obviously I'm into food and cooking and stuff. And so maybe I've been taking it too serious. Maybe I look at it and I just think, how do I elevate this thing? I'm going the wrong way. I need to lower it into the sewer.
That's where it belongs. That's where it is. And once it's there, greatest food on earth.
Okay.
Yep.
It's 4th of July. I have one hot dog a year, I would say. And honestly, I think it's a half a hot dog probably. And so this is the time.
Make them. I mean, are you having a barbecue or something on the 4th?
4th we're not, but again, we're going to Texas on the 7th and we're going to kind of do a celebratory thing there. And so I'm sure we'll recreate 4th of July on the 7th or the 8th or the 9th.
So like stack a dog and rip her.
All right. I'll do it in honor of you. I'll send you a photo.
Good.
All right. Barrel or not, pie eating contest.
Barrel. If there's one thing besides femme wasabi that I love as much as a hot dog, is pie.
But a pie eating contest means you need to overindulge.
Fine. Hot dog eating contest, even though I love them, is gross to me. Like the fact that that's actually become like professional is disgusting. But pie eating contests, oh man, stick me in one. I want to eat pie until I'm gorged. What's your favorite pie?
Apple.
Dutch. No.
Dutch apple.
Rhubarb. Rhubarb pie, the greatest pie on earth. Rhubarb?
I've encountered it. I've had one or two in my life when I'm traveling through Middle America.
Really hard to find a rhubarb pie without somebody trying to toss berry in there.
Probably the South.
I love rhubarb pie. Hard to find without berry. Second favorite pie? I'm going to go a good apple's third. I'm going to say...
The fact that you're even thinking this hard about it, you're just trying to beat Apple, and Apple's the best.
I love Apple. Apple's third. I love Apple, not Dutch apple. Just an apple. Apple, I feel, has to be a little tart.
How do you not want the crumbs on the top?
Yeah, I don't like crumbs because that's apple.
You're the guy that puts ketchup on a hot dog. You like sweet.
Apple crumble is gross.
No way, dude. So I made an Dutch apple last week. Maybe it was the week before. Made the pie, made the crust, the apples. It's so simple. It's butter. Who do you got behind you?
Oh, yeah. Family just showed up. Dinner time at the restaurant.
Perfect. Hopefully they want pie. Hopefully they're hungry for pie.
Oh, there's no pie.
Butter. Hey, Hemi, how are you? Just medium, okay? Yeah. Rough time in Mexico. Dude, so butter, cinnamon, apple. It's like brown sugar. It's the most simple ingredients, and they're harmonious. You cannot beat it.
No. I love an apple pie. I just feel that there's one of the berries that beats an apple, but I can't remember which one.
It's not a strawberry. Well, it's not a strawberry and it's not a cherry because they add this weird.
Oh, cherry pie. Sorry. Cherry pie.
Disgusting.
That's it.
No.
That's it. Cherry pie.
Once you add the glaze, it's disgusting.
Rhubarb, cherry, apple. Pumpkin is way down for me. I don't like pumpkin pie.
Okay, but here's the problem. I agree. I love a good piece of pie, but in moderation. I'm talking about a pie. The 4th of July is about a pie eating contest, and you're jamming your face and you're eating 8 of them to try to win this thing.
The only 2 eating competitions I will ever enter would be a cold cereal competition and a pie competition.
Which cereal?
Anything, but if it's Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I bet I could down like 4 boxes.
Really?
Yeah. Pops,
Man.
I could write down 3. I mean, don't you get me started on cold cereal.
I have not eaten cold cereal in, I'd say, 5 years. And remember last time, 2 podcasts ago, when I got my vaccine and I was feeling sick, I went home that night, took a nap, or that afternoon, took a nap, woke up, and I was like, Lauren, because Lauren likes cereal. I was like, I just craved a bowl of cereal for the first time in 5 years. It was
Honey
Special
Bunches.
K.
What?
No, it was Special K with
Yeah.
red berries.
Good. That's
freaking
good.
delicious. It was so good.
Rediscover cereal. Don't go your crazy sweet ones. Like the Lucky Charmses of the world is what will throw you off. Go for like kind of an adult cereal and snack on it at night while watching something. And you will be with like an oat milk, good oat milk or almond milk. Don't go cow. That's gross. Yeah. Like get an oat milk with an adult cereal. You'll feel happy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was shocked because I'll leave for the week. I'll go out of town or whatever. And Lauren will eat cereal for dinner. And I'm offended.
Of course.
Because I'm like, if I'm home, I'm going to make a duck breast. I'm going to make lamb. I'm going to make something. And I'm offended that she would eat cereal. She's like,
good on
she's
Lauren.
like, you're not, she's like, you're not listening to me. I don't want any of that stuff. I just want cereal.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, listen to me. Yeah.
And with Lauren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay.
Delicious.
Let's try it. Final, barrel or not, wearing a flag as your costume. So this doesn't mean draping it around your shoulders as a cape, but this means maybe you have a bikini that is, red, white, and blue. You have board shorts that are a flag motif, but wearing a flag on the 4th of July as part of your motif.
Nah, unless you're wearing the Mexican flag.
In America?
Yes. We have a dull flag. Let's be honest. Our stars and stripes, world flags, so sleepy. Look at Albania's.
Blasphemy.
Albania's flag, red background with a black something bird in the middle. Papua New Guinea, stinking bird of paradise with a couple stars, some black and red. Mexico, their whatever eagle thing, eating a snake or whatever it's doing with green and red. There are so many fantastic flags. Stack up America's flag next to world flags, and
it reigns supreme. It reigns supreme. Awful. The 13 colonies, the states represented by the stars.
Nope.
It's symbolic.
The like on the nose symbolism is so annoying. Give me a bird, give me a hammer and a sickle, give me something else besides like geometric patterns. Boring.
Okay, so you're making an aesthetic claim.
Yes.
I'm going nah for a different reason, and that is even if Albania has an amazing flag, they're not wearing it on their board shorts. Like there's something blasphemous. What?
Albanians might be wearing theirs on their board shorts.
Oh, really?
I mean, who knows?
Do Albanians have board shorts?
I feel that if you had a sick flag like Albania, you'd be rocking it as much as you could.
I think that's unique to America. Like, to be perfectly honest.
No,
and maybe Brazil.
Have you been to Australia? Australians throw the stinking lucky country flag all over everything.
Do they? But not on their clothing, like not on their board shorts.
Everywhere. Every towel, board short, full stop. Aussie flag. New Zealanders probably do it too. Just nobody can tell the difference between Australian and New Zealand flags. Yeah. Like,
see, I feel I'm going nah on this just because I feel like it's actually blasphemy. Like the flag should be something of reverence that never touches the ground, certainly never touches your ball sack. Like it should just be revered. You know what I mean? And so adding it to your clothing, and then you're getting super drunk on 4th of July and probably vomiting on it that's way nah. That's no barrel.
I would love, I'm no barrel just because our flag sucks aesthetically. And I would love a listener so much we should design a better American flag that then we crowdfund to get into somehow contention for let's replace the American flag.
We'll have Caio Bellier. Who's Griffin Colapinto? Chloe Andino.
Yeah. I mean, we need something better. Ours is boring.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck with that. I'll let you head up that campaign because I'm not touching it.
I am on it. It's going to be called Burn the Flag.
Now that your family has shown up to dinner, is it 7:00 there?
It is 7:00.
All right. 6 p.m. here.
It's 8:00 here.
Oh man, it's still bright out there.
Yeah. 8. It's night.
How many cocktails have you had today?
Just 3. I'm good.
Right.
As rambling as the show was, I can't blame it on booziness.
We did an hour and 45 minutes. It's 30 minutes longer than usual.
Fantastic.
I know. Greg Noll deserved it.
He did. For Greg.
Ben Gravy too.
Derek Hines, put fucking fins in your board.
All right. Next week from Texas to California. You'll be in California next week?
No, I'll still be in Mexico.
Okay. From Texas to Mexico. Until then, Chaz.
Texaco, get barrel.